Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion here on this glorious August day, August 18th. It's actually our wedding anniversary. My beloved and I have been together for a very long time, and it's awesome. It's just so awesome. Anyway, my name is Kimberly Quinn, and I'm just excited to have a talk today about taking your own life's inventory. There's a little G about ready to go in. This is Beaver Pond number 1. There's the other one. He goes in at the end, we come down. Anyway, okay, so I'm inspired today. I'm reading, why do I usually say so much? I am excited to share with you my inspiration, which it's a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's really good. I was turned on to this by our daughter's boyfriend, who I call a chef because he's an amazing food artist. Anyway, it's just really good. I mean, a few pages in, I was so crazy about it. So I've actually used a book that's similar by Charles Duhigg called The Habit Loop. It's similar, but way different. So what we're going to talk today about is not necessarily, well, habits, yes, but really what I want to talk about is taking your own life inventory, taking your inventory, just as if you're, stocking the shelves in a big store or a small country store, whatever. Picture your store. But, stocking your shelves and to really evaluate if you are where you want to be right now. Are you the type of person you want to be? And that's not going to be like entirely a yes-no answer, right? Because it's more than likely it's somewhere in between. Like, as far as with the shelves, well, I've got this, and that in place. Not so much this, and that. And then there's a few things on the shelf that I'm not sure about, right? And so to really take your life inventory, because it really matters no matter what stage you are. And I think we midlifers for sure are in this because it's part of the whole life stage, having it all make sense, figuring out, what happened and why, who we are, who we want to be, really savoring life at this stage. You realize that there are fewer life minutes in front of you than behind you, kind of thing. And, am I as healthy as I want to be? Do I have as much money saved as I'd like to have? Do I, am I good with my relationships? Da, 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 da. So here's where the habits come in, which is very interesting. So first of all, the similarities between James Clear's book and Charles Duhigg is that the whole habit loop, right? So I'll explain that quickly so that the rest makes sense. So there's a cue, followed by a craving, followed by a response, followed by a reward. So I would write this on a whiteboard, but you know what? This is a way prettier background, I'm thinking. So the cue is like, let's say, okay, I'm stressed. So then the craving is I crave going for a run. That is then followed by the response, which is running, let's say in the woods or pavement, whatever. Wood's a little better on the knees. And then reward, which is the relief from the stress because you went running. So cue, craving, response, reward. That was a healthy example. We can also have the cue, which is I'm stressed, and then the craving, which is for a nice cold beer, followed by another one maybe. That is the response, is the actual drinking itself. And then the reward is relief. It's still relief. People don't drink because it doesn't feel good, or do whatever because it doesn't feel good. We're not going to get into the judging the healthy and the unhealthy right now because that's not the point. Plus, I like a glass of wine at night too, so I'm not judging that either. But obviously in moderation. So that is what the habit loop is. Now, here's the thing, and I was already on this page with James Clear because he talks about goals, and I've said in different episodes also, so it's kind of validating for me to read his stuff. We're not saying that goals aren't important, because goals are important, but what is also important, though, is not to focus on them. And my reason was a little different because, again, if I were going to draw a big circle, we only have 100% of our cognitive and emotional energy to spend in a day. So if we're focused on the goals, which are in the future, we are therefore not focused on the present. If we are not focused on the present, we are actually losing pieces of that pie, percentage-wise, giving it to the future, also while we're probably also thinking about the past, and that therefore takes away from the energy, the cognitive and emotional and spiritual energy that we have in the present to make the goals happen. So it's actually setting us back by focusing on the goals. It doesn't mean don't make them, set them, but don't focus on them. It's all about focusing on being in the moment and doing your absolute best in the moment. If you're doing that, the goals will happen on their own. And if you're focused in the moment, they're probably going to come out better than you would have expected. Why? Because you have all of your energy focused in the moment. The results will just take care of themselves. Okay, now James Clear's thing is a little bit different because people often think, let's come up with some common examples. Okay, I want to lose 20 pounds maybe by whatever date, or by the time school starts, or by the holidays, or whatever. And we do deadlines for ourselves. Hoping I didn't swallow another bug. I've had enough protein for, I think, this whole summer season. Anyway, so we had goals, or I want to have so much money saved in the bank. I want to go to the gym so many times in a week and be able to you know, handle whatever weights by a certain, you know, and we focus on that rather than the process of the losing weight or becoming healthy. And so his outlook on this is really cool. So rather than focus on those hardcore, you know, just etched in stone goals of 20 pounds or this much money per week, per month, or whatever in the bank, again, not bad to have them, just bad to focus on them. Because really we want to focus on the systems. And James Clear talks about the systems and to really think about, you know, a person who wants to become more knowledgeable reads books. A person who is a writer is probably pretty consistent and reliable. A person who's in good financial standing, has financial freedom, has it as part of them, the belief system that they are good with money. They believe that they're good with money. Somebody who wants to learn a new language learns that new language by prioritizing, going on YouTube. There's all kinds of these sites. Our daughter actually taught, I think I said in the last thing that she taught Spanish. Actually, she taught English to people in other countries. Anyway, it's called iTalki. So the point is, what we want to do is think about and picture who we want to become. And then James Clear also used an example, which was extremely cool, of a female client he had who was very overweight, and she lost over 100 pounds by asking her herself this simple question all day, every day, when coming up with a junction of choices to make with food or exercise or whatever. And she would say, what does a healthy person do? What would a healthy person, what would they do? What would the choice be that they would make? She lost 100 pounds doing that, without all the focus on the crazy diets, which we know don't work because they put the mind in a state of deprivation, or, you know, has the opposite effect. That's all we can think about is that. Or if we're trying to, you know, narrow ourselves down to very little money, that's all we can think about. It's all about scarcity. It's not healthy. It's much better to think, what type of person do I want to be? And for me, I don't mind sharing, you know, I'm an open book. I've been an athlete my whole life, you know, just very athletic, just involved baseball and skiing, my favorites, and also running. And I was fortunate enough to run a marathon with our oldest daughter. Not fast. I came in there fast, 5+ hours, but I got the t-shirt and the bling bling and the medal. It was all about being with her and just being healthy. The goal wasn't there was no goal except to try to finish, really. But the point is, I would ask the same thing. I don't want to be 80 or 90 or 110 sitting on somebody's, you know, porch with an Afghan on my lap knitting a basket. I don't want to do that. So when it comes down to these questions, you know, what would an athlete do? And it doesn't mean, because I like burgers. I've told, especially in the summer, summer just says burgers. And yet, at 57, I've now gotten a little more conscientious of not just having them each and every time I feel like one, because what would an athlete do? An athlete would just be conscious of not the deprivation of, oh, I shouldn't do that today, but just, you know, picture myself at 80, 90, or 110 when I'm skydiving or starting up a new business or whatever. I want to still be physically fit within whatever the context of that is. I still want to be physically fit. What would an athlete do? And that helps me, which is not easy because I have not a lot of discipline when it comes to food. I love food. And it's actually been working for me, you know, just, you know, maybe not today, you know, and have one in a few weeks kind of thing. And it really works. So what type of person do you want to be? Do you want to be in shape? Well, what does an athlete do? Do you want to lose weight? What does a healthy person do? Those are very similar. What does somebody who's financially free do? Would they just jump on this clearance sale, that clearance sale, or go skimming on Amazon for the latest deals? You know, I used to have an issue with that, not anymore, a couple decades ago. And my story is entirely different now. It wasn't then, though. So then I would be that person, impulsive and just, you know, hitting the button. Actually, it wasn't usually online, but we don't do that much anymore as much with the Rona. But I used to just buy all kinds of stuff I didn't want or need because that was where my head was 20 years ago. My new story is, at a fabulous 57, You know, what would somebody who's financially free do? They wouldn't care about this. Would I care about it in a month? No. So no, I don't need it. You know, that's kind of thing. So the thing is, I like his whole attitude. Think about today for yourselves. Instead of focusing on the goals, make them, yes, but don't focus on them. Remember the present moment thing. And ask yourself and envision, you know, am I the type of person I want to be? And then the habits will kind of take care of themselves. Also, it's a psychology fun fact. It's about 21 days for an average habit to shift and stick, because habits aren't made or broken. They just shift. Okay, and obviously that average is there because starting a new workout habit is not the same as quitting smoking, although it fits here. What would a non-smoker do? Right? What would a non-smoker do? Ask that. The other thing, lastly, that James Clear talks about is a 1% improvement each day, because a lot of people quit early. I'm thinking of the New Year's Eve crew with the New Year's Eve resolutions, and I'm going to do that. Usually they're food and exercise related, almost all the time, right? And that's why, you know, 3 weeks later, you go on Craigslist, and there's a plethora of, you know, treadmills and ellipticals and stuff on triple, quadruple markdown because everybody's done it 3 weeks. And he says that's because people don't realize what a slow burn it is. It is working. It's gradual. It is working, but they give up before the results catch up to them. So he's all about slow and steady wins the race. If we make a 1% change each day, and I'm not looking at the book, obviously. I think he said it adds up to 39% change over the year. 1% is hardly even noticeable. So that's the whole point here. 1% slow and steady wins the race. Figure out the person you want to be, and the results will follow. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful northern Vermont with little Giovanni. Have a mindful day.